Welcome back to Tech Visa. This is episode number 9. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel as we'll be bringing you regular updates and all the latest Australian immigration news. So today I thought we'd do something slightly differently. This is going to be our first solo episode. I thought we'd take a step back, slow things down, and take a deep dive into the permanent residency pathways through the 186 visa program. In particular, I want to focus in on the temporary resident transition stream, as this is the part of the program that has been affected most by the recent Australian immigration updates. So for those of you that are not aware of the 186 visa program, it's a permanent residency visa that requires employer sponsorship. It enables skilled workers to live and work in Australia permanently. You'll have the opportunity to study, access healthcare through the Medicare system, and you can even sponsor your family members for permanent residency as well. So the 186 visa program has two main streams, the direct entry stream and the temporary resident transition stream. As I mentioned, today I really want to focus in on the temporary resident transition stream, but I'll be creating another video that will focus in on the direct entry stream. So let's take a look at the overarching eligibility criteria for the temporary resident transition stream of the Subclass 186 visa program. So firstly, the work experience requirement. So you will need to have worked for the same employer for a total of 3 years while holding a 482 visa in order to be eligible to apply for the Subclass 186 through the temporary resident transition stream. So what exactly does this mean? Well, from the day your 482 visa gets granted is when the time period starts counting towards your 186 visa. So we get a lot of questions around what visa do I have to hold? If I held a 485 visa, does this count towards the time period towards permanent residency? The answer is no. You have to hold a 482 visa, and from the date that visa is granted is the date that your 2-year or 3-year period towards permanent residency starts counting. As you have probably heard by now, this 3-year period is reducing to 2 from the 1st of January 2024. Another really important thing to remember with the work experience requirement is that if you change employers, that 3-year period starts again. You will need to work for your new employer while holding a 482 visa for a total of 3 years in order to be eligible to apply for permanent residency through the Subclass 186 TRT stream. Moving on, as the name suggests, you do need to have an Australian business that is willing to sponsor you, as this is an employer-sponsored visa. Also, there is an age limit. It's 45 years old, and it's important to note that this is a time of application criteria that needs to be met. So therefore, you need to be under the age of 45 on the day you lodge this visa. As with most visas, there is an English requirement, and with the Subclass 186 visa, you need to have competent English at the time of application. So once again, you need to get that English test done before you lodge the visa, as this is a time of application requirement. Another question that we get asked a lot is, when does my 186 visa expire? What's the validity period? So as this is a permanent visa, there is no expiry date, but it's important to note that the travel facility does expire after 5 years. So this means that you can travel freely for 5 years from the date the 186 visa is granted, but after that, you will either need to apply for a resident return visa or you need to apply for Australian citizenship. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, hit that like button and make sure to leave any further questions in the comments section, as we'll be sure to get back to you as soon as possible.